Alrighty, so I got these guys lined up, and I want them to fade in and fade in, and then no be emphasized. So what I want to do is fade in. Let's take the let. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in, press T for opacity. And what I need to do is be able to hear the sound so I can match things up. So I'm going to grab that sound and just drop it down here. Now, one thing that'll help is being able to see some of that sound. And so if I can actually go in, and I'm going to give you this little sheet that has a whole bunch of different shortcuts. So if I press LL, there's my sound wave. And what you can see here, let's close these guys up, is I can see where my sound actually is. Oops, accidentally closed this. Open that back up. There we go.
Let me tell you something you already know.
So right here is where we could see the sound starts. So let's grab all of these for right now. I'm going to show you a little trick. And I want to press T for opacity, and I'm going to key them. So this is when they pop in. And I'm going to go back just a few frames, and turn the opacity off.
Let me tell you something you Let me tell you something.
Now I can grab all these, just move them over a little bit.
Let me tell you something you are.
Now, I don't want them all coming in at the same time. So there's multiple ways I could do this, but I'll show you a few of the ways. One, I could grab the keyframes, when they're opened up that way, grab the keyframes minus these. It's shift left mouse drag to deselect those, and then just start moving the keyframes over. And as I shift and move them over, oops, not you. Then you'll see one, two, you see them fading in one after the other.
Let me tell you something you are.
Another way I could do it is just simply selecting the layers that I want and literally moving them. Deselect, Control or Command left mouse, drag, because these guys are going to be invisible in the first place, so it doesn't matter that you can't see them here. So if I hit play,
Let me tell you something you already know. Let me tell you something you already know.
and what I might want to do is zoom in a little bit just so I can really see it and get, really in there.
Let me tell you something.
And I could see it probably needs a little bit of an offset. So I just grab all of these guys and just shift them over a little.
Let me tell you something you already know.
Maybe a little too much. We'll figure it out after I got them all set. So I can shift the whole layer. I can also move just the keyframes. And continue to do that. Oops. Can even have them overlap just a little bit.
Let me tell you something you already know.
So they're way too spread out. It should end right about here. Okay.
Tell you something you already know.
So right at 215. So what we need to do is shift that back and offset these guys so that they line up for that.
Let me tell you something you already know.
That's better. And now I want to do just one more thing. I want to play a little bit with the no part. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to move it to here. And on the opacity, I'm just selecting this one layer. Lock it down. So it's going to remain opaque there. And then by the time it gets here, I want it to fade out. Now there's something else I want to do with this one. So you see how T shows that, but if I also hit hold down Shift and let's say do scale. So now I see my scale and opacity on that layer. And I'm going to key my scale. And I want it to grow.
Something you already know. The world ain't.
Now here's the thing, all the other ones are still there. I want them to fade out. So let's say right about here, I'm going to select all these layers. Let's say right about there. And I'm going to key their opacity. Key system. Not hitting this, that turns off your keys. So undo if you do that. This guy here, bam, which sets a key. And then I want them to totally fade out. But I gotta zoom in here because it's just too tight. So let's move you. Grab these guys. Now let's see.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't. Let me tell you something you already know. The world.
Cool, I like that. We'll do one more little trick and then that's the end of this one. Sorry for the long one, but there's a lot, right? Just in this one beginning. So for this one now, I just want to add a blur to it. So I'm going to go to the no. Have that one selected. Go to Effect. Add a fast box blur. So if I select just this one and press E, you'll see there's my fast box blur. The E is for effects. So right there, here's the no. I want to key the radius. And then let's say right about here, it's going to kind of disappear. There we go.
Tell you something you already know. World ain't.
I like that. That's our first shot. That's our first part.